everyone. You're here with me, Shod Shamiato, for TVS Nightline. As always, thank you for joining me tonight. Now on to the headlines. Our top headlining story today, as the people are fully aware of the plight in facing the COVID-19 pandemic, as the Sarawak state government has announced the Bantuan Khas Sarawak ku Sayang or BKSS 5.0 special assistance package. With the goal to ease the burden of the people, it is the fifth financial assistance package amounting to 405 million ringgit. The package comprises utility bill discounts and a moratorium of 6 months.
Domestic, commercial and industrial consumers will continue to enjoy the water and electricity bill discount. The discount will benefit 642,000 households, amounting to 166.2 million ringgit.
Pengguna domestik, komersial dan industri akan diberi diskaun 5% hingga 25% ke atas bil elektrik bulanan mulai Januari hingga Jun 2021. Diskaun ini akan memberi manfaat kepada 642,000 isi rumah di seluruh Sarawak. Kos keseluruhan diskaun bil elektrik ini berjumlah 166.2 juta dan ini akan dibaiki oleh kerajaan GPS Sarawak.
Meanwhile, on water bills, he added it would benefit more than 568,000 households in the state, with the total cost amounting to 31.5 million ringgit.
Domestik, komersial dan industri akan diberi diskaun 10% hingga 25% ke atas bil air bulanan mulai Januari hingga Jun 2021. Diskaun ini akan memberi manfaat kepada lebih daripada 568,000 isi rumah di seluruh Sarawak. Kos keseluruhan diskaun bil air ini berjumlah 31.5 juta ringgit, juga akan dibaiki oleh kerajaan Sarawak.
These discounts are one of the 11 initiatives under the Bantuan Khas Sarawak ku Sayang 5.0 assistance program announced by Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg.
Now, good news, as in the same development, the state government announced a 50% discount for the housing rental scheme under the Sarawak Housing Development Corporation that would benefit 3,200 tenants throughout the state.
Diskaun 50% sewa skim perumahan SDC akan dilaksanakan mulai Januari hingga Jun 2021. Langkah ini akan memberi manfaat kepada lebih daripada 3,200 penyewa skim perumahan SDC di seluruh Sarawak. Kos keseluruhan diskaun ini dianggar melebihi 3 juta.
Meanwhile, Abang Johari disclosed that a 30% discount will also be implemented for the payment of land premiums for the year 2021.
30% untuk pembayaran cukai tanah bagi tahun 2020-2021 akan memberi manfaat kepada lebih 52,400 tempat kediaman, pusat komersial dan industri, peladangan skala besar dan lain-lain kemudahan awam. Langkah ini akan mengurangkan beban rakyat dan akan melibatkan kos berjumlah 11.8 juta ringgit.
Now, more small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, in Sarawak are set to benefit from the BKSS 5.0 assistance package. The loan scheme aims to provide SMEs with the financial assistance to tide through and sustain their businesses during this difficult period of the pandemic.
The assistance serves as a measure to help cash flow and reduce the financial burdens of SMEs. Sarawak Bumiputra Entrepreneurs Chamber Chairman Dato' Abang Helmi Ikwan welcomes the government efforts to ease the burden of industrial players.
Untuk peminjam-peminjam daripada kerajaan negeri yang melibatkan amount antara 20,000 hingga 250,000 bagi usahawan-usahawan SPIKS. Jadi ini kita ini baik untuk usahawan SPIKS, tetapi bagulah terima kasih dengan kerajaan Sarawak kerana saya lihat pengecualian sewa kepada IKS yang beroperasi di premis kerajaan di Sarawak. Ini banyak boleh membantu usahawan-usahawan kita pada tahun ini.
Now, with the BKSS 5.0 assistance package, the people of Sarawak can breathe a sigh of relief. Some of the ongoing discounts could very well ease the difficulties and hardship experienced by them.
Amat bersyukur kerana Ketua Menteri Sarawak telah pun memberi pengurangan sebanyak 50% sehingga bulan Jun nanti. Lebih-lebih lagi kepada orang yang telah pun berkeluarga dan sekiranya terdapat seorang saja ahli keluarga yang bekerja, mungkin dapat mengurangkan bebanan mereka.
Not only that, some of them are already planning long-term uses of the assistance provided by the state government.
Pengecualian pembayaran lesen-lesen perniagaan itu sangat membantu kami peniaga-peniaga kecil. Dengan pengecualian tersebut sangat membantu kita untuk mengembangkan lagi perniagaan kita, di samping kita ada lebihan wang yang boleh kita gunakan.
Kerajaan Sarawak meneruskan pemberian diskaun bil elektrik dan air bulanan bagi tempoh Januari hingga Jun 2021. Ia melibatkan pengguna domestik, komersial dan industri yang menikmati diskaun 5 hingga 25%. Diskaun bil elektrik melibatkan kos RM166.2 juta akan memberi manfaat kepada 642,000 isi rumah di seluruh Sarawak. Sementara diskaun air melibatkan kos RM31.5 juta akan memanfaatkan 568,000 isi rumah di seluruh negeri. Sekian laporan Odin Ketani bersama juru kamera Fikri Raza untuk TVS Kuching.
Welcome back. Now, ASEAN member countries should consider the implementation of laws relating to data privacy and consumer rights that can be applied to every digital entity throughout the region.
Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the digital platform is now seen as a medium that needs to be utilized responsibly.
ASEAN could also consider stronger legislations pertaining to hate speech that, among others, compels digital platforms to remove or and mete out punishment for any speech willfully promoting violence and attacks, be it verbal or physical, including but not limited to harassment and threats against a person or person based on their race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, disability, or nationality.
Muhyiddin said ASEAN can implement various initiatives in the effort to strengthen cybersecurity, such as funding and establishing a special platform that can connect small and medium businesses throughout the region.
Now, since the pandemic began, things have changed drastically on a daily and sometimes on an hourly basis. The COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected the world since early last year, has accelerated the growth of the digital economy in Malaysia.
The government has identified the digital economy as one of the key economic growth areas to achieve national commitment of elevating the country to be a nation of sustainable growth. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said this will ensure fair and equitable distribution across income groups, ethnicities and regions.
We will drive forward the promise of shared prosperity for all by focusing on empowering Malaysians with digital skills, enabling digitally powered businesses and driving digital investments.
The COVID-19 pandemic has given ASEAN member states the unanticipated nudge to move faster down the digital road. Undoubtedly, he said ASEAN has seen progress in the digital environment, although the level of advancement may differ from one member state to another, as well as between areas within each member state.
Now, ASEAN has to find ways to collectively mitigate cross-border cybercrime as it prepares to emerge as a competitive digital economic bloc in the post-COVID-19 period. Now, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the main challenge facing the regional grouping in the cybersphere is staying ahead in two principal areas, namely mitigating cybercrime and advancing the digital economy.
Muhyiddin pointed out that Malaysia recognized the cross-border nature of cybercrimes and the challenges in bringing cyber criminals to justice, as this required a coordinated and integrated regional approach.
We must be mindful that cyber threats are rapidly changing and encroaching into every sphere of our lives, including how we communicate, how we work, how we conduct online transactions, how we carry out purchases, and even how we defend our national security. They have also become more sophisticated, complicated, and transboundary in nature. In this regard, ASEAN member states can no longer operate and work in isolation.
Muhyiddin said ASEAN itself has continuously discussed and expressed its support to the existing set of international rules, norms and principles of responsible behavior of states in cyberspace. Malaysia too is moving towards these security objectives with a comprehensive plan and strategy to provide a secure, trusted and resilient cyberspace. On a related matter, Muhyiddin pointed out that ASEAN member states could consider legislation on data privacy and users' rights that could be applied to any digital entity practicing in the region.
Now, meanwhile, ASEAN member countries need to formulate policies to coordinate cross-border e-commerce regulations in order to encourage the development of a regional digital economy. CIMB ASEAN Research Institute Executive Director Ju Ki Hong said ASEAN's digital economy potential can be enhanced. However, that is if the ASEAN member countries embark on a comprehensive digital transformation and establish a fully digital community.
ASEAN perlu menggalakkan perkembangan infrastruktur digital yang mampu membantu perniagaan kecil sejajar dengan matlamat pemulihan ekonomi dan juga untuk menggalakkan pembangunan lestari dan pertumbuhan inklusif. Dan keduanya, mungkin pengdigitalan dari segi sistem kewangan dan pentadbiran awam. Ini melibatkan pengaktifan infrastruktur pembayaran digital untuk memudahkan aliran kewangan, termasuklah seperti perkhidmatan kewangan bebas sentuhan.
She said to realize the fully digital goal, Malaysia could play a role as the driver of a digital nation, which is the heart of the development of the digital economy in Asia. Apart from that, in order to bridge the digital skills in the region, the government also needs to update the training and education system. She further said this to produce a skilled workforce in the digital and information and communication technology fields.
Now, Malaysia is committed to ensure a secure data flow in establishing an e-commerce ecosystem among ASEAN countries through initiatives under the ASEAN Digital Data Governance Framework.
Minister of Communications and Multimedia Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah said, in addition to the framework, Malaysia will also continue to support the Privacy Data Protection Forum and the development of Asian model contractual clauses. The country is also committed to promoting the development of professional cybersecurity certification programs for Asian in helping to create world-class cybersecurity personnel.
Cybersecurity Malaysia, an agency under the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia Malaysia, has established a local cybersecurity professional certification scheme known as the Global Accreditation Cybersecurity Education Scheme, or in short, Global ACE, which Malaysia would like to offer to ASEAN member states.
However, Saifuddin explains there is still a lot to be done to become a competitive and integrated digital economic bloc, especially when the world is still facing a COVID-19 pandemic crisis. He said while Asian countries find a footing in promoting economic recovery and transitioning to a new normal, the Asians Digital Master Plan 2025 will steer the region through the next 5 years of digital development.
Now, meanwhile, the public are advised to be wary of the existence of fraudulent tactics aimed at taking over users' WhatsApp accounts. The scammers used various tricks to deceive users to share a 6-digit verification code received from WhatsApp.
The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, in a statement, users who are deceived into sharing the verification code can cause their WhatsApp account to be taken over by a scammer. MCMC also urged users to be wary of WhatsApp 6-digit verification code requests from friends or family members or even others claiming to be WhatsApp employees, as well as other parties including authorities. It also advised users, in order to protect themselves from any possible criminal act, to lodge a report regarding the matter at the nearest police station. Reports can also be made to the MCMC's complaint portal channel.
Now, onto some COVID-19 updates, as one death due to COVID-19 was recorded in Sarawak today. This brings the total number of deaths in the state to 22. Meanwhile, the state continues to record 3-digit cases at 132 new positive cases.
In a statement, the Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee said Cebu recorded the highest case with 62 cases, followed by Kanawit with 46 cases and Bintulu 12 cases. Miri recorded 5. Meanwhile, Kuching, Dalat, Lobo Antu, Serian and Selangau each recorded 1 case. This brings the total number of infections in the state to 2,702 cases. Meanwhile, 3,172 new positive COVID-19 cases were reported nationwide today. This brings the total number of infections to 172,549 cases. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham added that the country has lost 12 more people to the disease, pushing the overall death toll to 642.
Now, following the next update, as all mosque and religious activities during the Conditional Movement Control Order are postponed until further notice. Sarawak Islamic Council made the decision based on the increasing number of positive cases during the COVID-19 pandemic.
The decision was also approved after taking into account the Sarawak State Government decision through the Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee to implement the CMCO throughout the state for 14 days effective from January 21st till January 18. The statement by the Islamic Council also informed that Friday prayers and Fardu prayers can still be held in the mosque or surau with a limited congregation. The number of people in a congregation must adhere to the mosque's available capacity with physical distancing and not more than 200 people. Meanwhile, the number of people allowed for Friday prayers and Fardu prayers at Jame' State Mosque is limited to 300 people during the CMCO period.
Demand for gloves continued to be strong despite the availability of vaccines to curb the COVID-19 pandemic. Top Glove Corp Berhad said its annual rubber glove production capacity had reached 91 billion pieces as of January 2021.
Top Glove said its current annual production capacity had been achieved via collective output across the group's 36 glove factories out of the company's total of 47 factories. According to notes in Top Glove's latest presentation, production capacity expects to have an annual output capacity of 110 billion gloves by December 2021. The company said the 36 glove factories have a combined 762 equivalent single formal lines to produce such a number of gloves in a year. Out of the 36 factories, 32 are located in Malaysia, 2 in Thailand, and 1 each in China and Vietnam.
Hello there, everyone, and thank you for staying with me. Now, meanwhile, a long 2-hour wait for a trap to be set off proved worthwhile when a 9-foot male croc was captured by the Samarahan crocodile hunter team in an operation at Maranet River on Thursday. This brings the total number of captures to 7 after the 4-day hunting operation. According to Head of Operations Wan Mazlan Wan Mazian, the milk crock caught the bait which was set up by the team. He added the operation utilized 9 baits to trap the said reptile. However, Wan Mazlan said his operations team will still continue the hunt operation until the end of the week to identify the predator involved in the recent croc attack. Now, illicit cigarettes worth an estimated total of 50,000 ringgit were seized in an operation dubbed Ops Landai COVID-19 on Wednesday. According to Region 5 Marine Police Commander Assistant Commissioner of Police Shamsul Kasim, the operation was conducted on a premise at Court Road, Bintangor. Investigations from the operation found that the warehouse was used to store various types and brands of cigarettes. An inspection conducted on a second premise, a convenience store, found various types and brands of purported duty-free cigarettes under the Customs Act 1967. The estimated total of seized items amounted to 47,814 ringgit. Meanwhile, a 61-year-old suspect was arrested for further investigation. Now, newly President-elect Joe Biden plans to roll out dozens of executive orders in his first 10 days, on top of a big stimulus plan and an expensive immigration bill. Inheriting a collection of crises unlike any in generations, Joe Biden plans to open his administration with dozens of executive directives. These directives include expansive legislative proposals in a 10-day blitz meant to signal a turning point for a nation reeling from disease, economic turmoil, racial strife, and the recent aftermath of the assault on the Capitol. A raft of decrees were issued by the new president-elect after the inauguration on Wednesday to begin reversing some of President Trump's most disputed policies. Meanwhile, the flurry of executive orders, including rescinding the travel ban on several predominantly Muslim countries, rejoining the Paris Climate Change Accord, and extending pandemic-related limits on evictions and student loan payments. Joe Biden also plans to send sweeping immigration legislation on his first day in office, providing a pathway to citizenship for 11 million illegal immigrants in the country. Now, following the same update, U.S. President Joe Biden has begun to undo some of Donald Trump's key policies hours after being sworn in. In his initial act as the 46th U.S. president, he signed 15 executive orders, the first to boost the federal response to the COVID-19 crisis.
Other orders reverse the Trump administration's stance on climate change and immigration. President Biden set to work at the Oval Office, having been sworn in earlier on Wednesday at the U.S. Capitol. The inauguration was unlike any other due to the coronavirus restriction, with few present to witness the oaths and ceremonies. Donald Trump, who has still not formally conceded the presidency to Biden, snubbed the event in a departure from long-standing precedent.
Wrapping up the Nightline tonight as Joe Biden, U.S. President, sees the White House returning to the Democrats. Biden, sworn in as the 46th President of the United States, will definitely signal a win for global trade.
Experts believed Biden is more receptive to working with other countries than outgoing U.S. President Donald Trump is. Political analyst Jonathan Chai opines that what may be different for the U.S.-China relationship under Biden's administration is the approach taken.
I believe Joe Biden will take a more practical and moderate approach in dealing with the trade war with China, especially in relation to the imposition of import duties. Any improvement in the bilateral trade between the two countries will definitely have positive knock-on effects for the global trade, including Malaysia.
Jonathan added that this would be beneficial to the wider supply chain networks, particularly for Malaysia and ASEAN.
Of course, if Joe Biden reverses Trump's early decision on TPPA, that is the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, this might boost regional and global trade and that would also benefit countries like Malaysia.
And that concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. Here with me, Shao Shamyato. As always, I'll see you next time. Have a good night.